Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's do the level 120 review of Aerith. And I've made many videos about her so far, maybe second most after Stern. But this will be the last one. It's a little bit early, but people have been kind of talking about her lately anyway, so I thought now was maybe a good time to do it. The reason why people have been talking about her is because Summer El Shirel was released. She was water element, and then some people were making the comparison between Aerith and El Shirel. I think it is silly to think about War of the Visions first about elements, or like mainly about elements. It really undersells the complexity of the game. But people were making the comparison, so I addressed it in their terms. And I did say that of the two, El Shirel is most likely the better investment for most people. And the reason for that, and I've said this in previous videos about Aerith, is because I can't recommend Aerith to anybody. Now, I really enjoy using her, and I have zero regrets leveling her and using her at level 120. But it's possible to hold those two ideas at the same time, to like something for yourself, but to not recommend it to other people. I'm kind of a weird player when it comes to these games. Like, nostalgia doesn't matter that much. It more matters like how a character plays. And then the characters that interest me the most are the ones that are kind of the most difficult to play, the ones that are underrated. And Aerith is definitely that. And so, for most players, Aerith is not going to be a good match. She's not easy to use. El Shirel should be the easier character to use. People make the comparisons of Aerith to like Yuna or Ayaka, but I think the character that she is the most similar to is Rosa. And all the people out there that enjoy using Rosa, I think you'll also enjoy Aerith. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? So yeah, that's why I can't recommend Aerith. But the reason why Aerith and Rosa, I think, is the best comparison is because both characters, they can do a lot, actually. They can do healing, they can do support, they can do attack. But the thing is that if you leave everything on, like abilities on-off, if you don't choose a focus for them, they're going to be very, very mediocre in how they play with auto AI. But if you have a specific use in mind, and you really work with their abilities on-off, with their Trustmaster, with the team composition, you can get very nice results. I was able to use Aerith in like a Time Mage with Engelbert team in order to take on one of the most meta teams, which is the 2B Tifa team. And then with Rosa, I saw somebody do like a super like man-eater build and do crazy damage with her. But yeah, they're not going to be really powerful out of the box. You really have to experiment with them. And not everybody's going to want to do that. So the people that I would recommend Aerith to are the super fans of her character from Final Fantasy VII. If you have the nostalgia for her, that takes precedence over everything. And to people that like a challenging character, which will make them think. Okay, but let's get started on the review. Let's have a look at her stats first. I've said this many times before, but she has the highest pure magic value in the game, which is really interesting to me. Kind of pushed me towards an attack build for her, which I also got to work, but which I felt like was maybe more trouble than it was worth. Okay, we can look at her Trustmaster. This is an armor, kind of low-ish HP, but good spirit. And Trustmaster ability, AoE buff, will raise single target resistance. This is nice for any support character. Oh, and people are saying that Aerith is weak to Cloud because of the lightning disadvantage. Aerith is weak to everybody, so I wouldn't worry about the element in that case. Okay, but resistance is here, minuses on physical, and then a little bit on magic, so yeah. Definitely want to kind of keep her back and away. Alright, but jobs, we have the Final Fantasy VII version of White Mage, and then Time Mage, and Roon Knight. And we can look at her 3D model. Looking pretty good. I put Chedu's staff on her because of the flowers. And there's the animation. Whoa, where'd the staff go? Alright, and the praying gesture. Very famous. Okay. Alright, let's look at the board. Okay, so main job skills. We have a prayer. This is a range AoE HP heal for medium, and then we'll also buff spirit. And this is kind of a pair action to go with her limit break, because that is also an AoE heal that you can do at distance, which will raise defense. And like depending on which kind of team that you know you're going to go against, whether attack scaled or magic scaled, you can choose one of these and maybe turn off one or the other. You can see I have it turned off here. Okay, here's Ancient Ray. This is the EX Job upgraded skill. This is going to be one of her main attacks, but goes out in a straight line, medium damage, will break AP, and then has a chance of don't move for 3 turns. So pretty good attack, and then with her high magic value can get good damage out of it. Doesn't cost too much, only 3 uses per battle. This is a little bit difficult with aiming, but if you can make it work, this will be her main attack. Some little bit of verticality with 2 there. And then if she targets somebody within that aim range, and then that target moves out, she'll still hit that character, so that's nice. Okay, Protect Servant. AoE buff will add magic resistance barriers for 3 hits. I think we're all pretty familiar with how powerful barriers are, so this is pretty good. Did not fit for the build that I was using with her here, so that's why I've turned this off. Bodyguard Wish, I guess you could say. This is a self-buff only. Will lower her hate, so it's kind of like a hide, and then for 3 turns will give her area of effect resistance up, and then this can stack on top of itself up to 2 times. The AoE resistance is important because you can give her hide, but she still might be hit with like splash damage from a very large attack. Enemy AI will often do that, so this can give her a little bit of protection here. I have this turned off as well because there are other skills that I want her to use more. Maybe like a Trustmaster ability or re-raise on somebody else. Okay, and then here is Vision. This is kind of unique for her. This is a range AP heal. AP heal and then also AP breaks are a little bit hard to manage in auto AI, but for manual it's very, very interesting, very useful. I usually have this turned off as well, again because there are other skills that I want her to use more. Alright, and then Re-Raise, this is her job level 25 skill. I go back and forth on how much I like this skill or any of the raises. Generally I don't like raise in tactics games because they're not 100%. But this one is 100%. If you do go down, you will come back, guaranteed. The trick is to get the timing right so that the raised character will act immediately, because they're going to have very low HP, and they can be taken down again pretty quickly. But I've had pretty good success with this, actually. I like to use this with tanks in particular. Okay, let's look at the Final Fantasy VII White Mage subjob. Here we have Innocent Force. This is a very large AoE attack for medium damage. Nothing special here, no like penetration or breaks or status effects, just straight up damage. This may or may not be easier to target than the Ancient Ray, because you can do it on a diagonal, you can also do AoE. But like if it's a small map and then like your guys are close together and you have a chance of hitting your own teammates, she's not going to use this attack, so yeah, not perfect. Okay, and then here's a ranged TP skill, small heal, and regen. Interesting skill, but again, if it's getting in the way of like re-raise or like a Trustmaster ability, you want to turn this off too. But yeah, the AI for Aerith, and then also Rosa, it's kind of all over the place, so you really have to be pretty strict about how much you turn on and off. Okay, let's look at Time Mage subjob. This is the one that I use the most often because I didn't have another UR Time Mage when I got her, so that was going to be like my main use with her. But the usual stuff, Haste, Levitate, whatever it is. That teleport thing where you change positions with somebody. Slow, quick, comet, and don't move. When I use this sub-job, I'm usually doing the haste or the quick, and that's good enough. She can throw a tank or maybe an attacker to the front line, and then she can come up from behind and then heal, possibly do attacks if you leave that on. Okay, and then finally Roon Knight, which is kind of disappointing for one reason. She doesn't have that hazard attack, like Hazard Break, where it's a little bit of range, a little bit of AoE, takes away HP from herself, and then does great damage. She does not have that, so it might seem like this is the best sub-job for an attacking Aerith, but I don't know, I've tested it. It's not amazing. But here, Drain Evoke. This has great range, will do super small damage, will drain HP, and then will raise her magic for the next turn. It also has instant cast, which is nice. This can do decent damage, but I feel like that big AoE that I showed you on her main sub-job is better. But here we have Hazard Spell. This is a self-buff to take away some HP from self, and then for 3 turns raise magic. Here, this is a Water Element Break. Might be interesting for certain situations. And then we got Water Blade and then Water Blade. With this is magic scaled, but a slash attack, so maybe if you pair her with other slash attackers, you can raise the slash attack with like the Muraga Vision card. Maybe get some use out of that, but very short range, and she is not very durable at all, so I really question whether you're ever going to be able to make use of these very short range abilities. Okay, and then let's look at support abilities, and I think here, this is where the Rune Blade sub-job comes into play. But we have this one from Rune Blade. This will raise the damage of water attacks and then lower her lightning resistance. And then Sharp Mind will give her spirit penetration and then accuracy up. So these are going to help her with her attacking against particular types of enemies. And then accuracy with her is nice. She doesn't have amazing accuracy. But otherwise, she has the CT immunity, so slow, stop, stuff like that will not work on her. And then here, speed up casting time. That could be good, depending on if you're trying to make quick work on turn 1 with your guys. This will raise her max TP. I don't know if you ever need that. And then Midgar Flower Seller will raise spirit and then healing efficacy. This could be great if you're going to go against magic users or if you want to use her mainly as a healer. Okay, then reaction ability. This one's kind of cool. React Heal. When she is hit with damage, she will heal everybody in there for super small. This is nowhere near Yuna's heal, but it will heal AoE, so that's kind of cool. And then we have slow counter, and then what's this? When she's hit with magic damage, her AP will restore. That's kind of cool. Okay, then Limit Break, very, very nice. Long range, a little bit of AoE, will heal for big, and then raise defense for 3 turns. You may or may not need that, depending on who you go against. And then Mastery ability, the usual water party buff, and then for herself, magic up 15% and spirit up 5. Okay, so how would I use her? There's a few different roles that I would really use her as. One would be a straight up healer. She stays to the back, gives the HP, gives like defense or spirit buffs, possibly restores AP. The other way would be as the Time Mage. That's one of my favorite ways to use her. Give her the Time Mage sub-job, turn off, boy, a lot of the other healing and attacking stuff. And then maybe the last way I would use her as an attacker. And you could use actually any of her 3 sub-jobs as an attacker. But again, the White Mage sub-job has this big AoE. That could be good, depending on the map. Time Mage actually has Comet. That could be okay. And then Roon Knight, again, has the Drain Evoke, and then these Blade skills, which I don't know if you will ever use. And then finally, the last thing I'll talk about with her are going to be the Vision cards with the Vision abilities. One of them is going to be the Helena card. This comes with a Shadow Flare. Also a very big AoE, not amazing damage. but maybe if you wanted to get a big AoE, and then for some reason you had to use one of the other two sub-jobs for her, this might be good for her. The one that's more interesting to me, however, is the Fireworks card. This will come with a Ruinja, little bit of range, single target, and then super big damage, non-elemental. This is very interesting for her, I think, especially paired with her high magic value. Okay, I think that will do it for the review of Aerith. In a nutshell, she is for the Final Fantasy VII fans, and for people that like kind of a challenging character that can do a lot of things depending how you build her. For most people, I am going to recommend Cloud and Tifa. They're very powerful and they are easy to use. And then Barret, him too. He kind of falls under the difficult to use category. I'll do a level 120 review of him soon. Okay, thanks for watching and we'll see you again. Take care.